Jeffrey Richardson werkt als coach en adviseur van de burgemeester en probeert zwarte LGBT-jongeren uit de problemen te helpen.
If you're a black LGBT kid from this area, that's a challenge.
It can be. It can be.
So what do most kids do? Do they leave their parents, their homes, and...
Well, I think the poverty was number one, and so many of them are already either homeless or, you know, uncertainty, like family just moved around from one family member to another, so you already had that. And so then you add on the identity of being LGBT, and oftentimes, whether it's the parent or a step-parent or somebody, you know, they get kicked out of their homes because it's like, oh, we're already struggling, and then you're gonna come in here with that gay stuff, oh no. I had a young man when I was in the mayor's office, the director of LGBT affairs, who came to me. He was a senior in high school. His mother's husband had kicked him out of the house and said, because you can't live here. He lived in an abandoned apartment building for a year just so he could keep going to school. Nobody knew. It was an apartment building near the school. It had no running water. He'd go to school early, you know, wash up in the bathroom, and nobody knew for a year. And it wasn't until he was just tired, and he finally came to school and told someone, and they got him some help. It happens every day, sadly.
Een van de middelen om jongeren uit hun isolement te halen is ze aan te sporen aan de slag te gaan. Een bedrijf op te zetten bijvoorbeeld, zoals dit kledingwinkeltje. Hier is ook Philip Linnell, een icoon voor de zwarte gays in de wijk en een groot rolmodel voor Jeffrey.
Hey.
How's it going here?
It's good. It's a beginning.
The beginning of?
The next phase, the next wave of opportunity, I think.
Were there any black men in your environment that were gay?
Growing up? Mm-hmm. No, not openly gay.
So how come there are not that many black gay people?
Well, I know there are many. There are many. And I think more and more.
But you know what I mean.
Yeah, well,
they're not, you know, real open and.
It's not positive. If it was, you know, for many people, if it was seen as positive, being gay, being a member of the LGBT community, this wouldn't be a discussion. We wouldn't be having this conversation.
What about you, sir? Do you recognize his story?
Yeah, somewhat. Big difference, you know. Like after all, I'm 30 years older than he is.
Yeah.
Yeah. When it comes to my gayness, I say I don't have a coming out of the closet story to tell. Mm-hmm. As a matter of fact, I was never given the opportunity to be in a closet. Almost at the very early age, kindergarten, first grade, people were already calling me sissy, faggot, punk. As a matter of fact, it was a revelation when I was old enough to see my birth certificate that none of those names were on my birth certificate.
You were born out.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. Where I grew up, there was a house where there were, I think, 3 or 4 effeminate black men lived. In the summertime, they would wear shorts, flip-flops. They would tap their head in a kerchief. And people would, you know, I talk about them and everything like that. And that's what I thought I was going to grow up to be, because that's what they were calling them, and that's what they called me. You know, like, I was constantly having to deal with with some form of oppression, whether it was the racism coming from white people or the homophobia coming from my own people. I turned to drinking. I did drugs. I always had to fight for acceptance, and then always had to be very careful. I decided that to show my people that I'm worthy is that I decided to, I take a job with the Police Athletic League in New York and work in the toughest, in the toughest neighborhoods in the South Bronx, to show that I was down with the people. But my thing is I was going to not only show people that as a gay man, as a black gay man, that not only am I worthy of your attention, you know, and not only would you want to be, you know, tolerant of me, but it would be to your benefit to have me in your corner because I can do things.
Is it like good genes? I mean, this strength to move on and become an outspoken, out gay
it becomes on how much are you going to take. At least it gave me a self-empowerment to the sense that it wasn't that the homophobia was much my problem in terms of how I was going to deal with it. No, it's your problem. It's the other person's problem in terms of how you're going to deal with hating me. I think I have been successful in changing minds and hearts. I'm glad to see the change. Now, I can sit back and watch young folks like Jeffrey here, you know, who served as the vice chair of the DC Democratic Party.
It's kind of like a no-brainer have to do it, because I wouldn't be breathing, living, if it wasn't for the people that stepped up and said it is okay. You are okay. You are beautifully made and equipped as who you are. I literally don't think I would be alive.